Warning. Listener discretion advisory for the following program. It contains explicit language, controversial takes, and tangents that'll make your head spin. All opinions expressed are just that, opinions, and belong solely to those who speak them. This is...
What an excellent day for an guest. You'd like that?
Are you fucking nuts?
Pray to your God. I want you to pray that he comes and saves you.
Do I look like someone who cares what God thinks?
Spoilers ahead.
Long ago, video stores stood as beacons to the people, gateways to distant worlds. Then came the format wars. A brutal battle for the one and true tool of escaping the mundane. It would not be the last war. When the conflicts quelled, only a few hidden shops remained by the grace and pain of their keepers, guardians to a preposterous lore and era. Some things that should have not been lost were forgotten. Now, at the very end, in the hollowed aisles of the last one, the final keeper shall face their cursed fate.
It's over, man. Are you ready to blast off on your cinematic journey here at Blaster Video? Well, let's go. And with over 3,865 movies in my store, we got all the categories covered, from horror, sci-fi, fantasy, action, even comedy, all on VHS. First-time customers get one free rental. Well, the snake is out of the bag, and Fury of the Viper is now on sale at the video store. And for a limited time only, while supplies last, you get a free fridge magnet. So come on down to Blaster Video. We're located in the back alley of 10815 Unita Avenue. And always remember, be kind and rewind.
Welcome, horror fiends, to another episode of What an Excellent Day for a Podcast. And before you continue with this episode, make sure you've liked, subscribed, and shared us with everybody you know. And if you've not yet given us a rating and review, come on! What are you doing? Ma! They didn't do the thing! So for this week, I wanted to do something in honor of the final regular episode of The Last Drive-In. And no, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, I was their biggest fan and this is like the worst thing that ever happened. But I have seen a ton of episodes. Anytime Joe, Bob, and Darcy are on screen, whether it's through the show, whether they're making appearances somewhere, or if they're ever in a movie, I'm a huge fan. But am I going to claim to be anywhere near their biggest? No. And despite me not being a hardcore regular watcher of the series, it still stings. Now, I have heard some speculation that they may go off and continue the series elsewhere. I don't know. That would be great. I don't know if it's wishful thinking or if people out there actually have some knowledge. But either way, you know, whatever they end up doing, I'm going to fucking support. Or it could just be something as simple as, I mean, yeah, Joe Bob's getting up there in age. Maybe he just wants to chill out and relax. Slip into a little retirement. Do we like that idea? No, but I get it. And my original intent on what to do, I mean, I went as far as I got all my notes, got all prepared, was ready to hit record, and then, I don't know, it's just another case of, I think it would be a lot more fun to have a conversation with someone else on it. So, I'm going to put out some feelers to some people who knows, maybe my fellow horror nerds, maybe one or more of them, would be interested in doing it. We'll see. But there is another movie that I have recently watched, and I don't know, it's similar, loosely plays on the theme, or maybe I'm just looking for an excuse to do this, and connected to the recent loss of The Last Drive-In. But in the past week, I watched The Last Video Store, which came out in 2023. It's been coming up a ton of times as recommended, and based on the synopsis, I figured, yeah, it's probably something I get a kick out of, but never quite followed through. Until now. So I watched it, and here we go. So we open up to a dark room, and a man is sitting in this living room watching television, and it turns out it's quite staticky. And then you see him put down a stack of tapes, bunch of rentals, and yes, video cassette tapes. And on the top of the stack, there's one that looks like, I don't know, a tape that has seen better days. And then we zoom into the television, which is basically all static and white noise. And then we get a little text scroll, which, if you were paying attention, would have been the thing at the beginning of this episode. Unless anybody out there wants to give me credit for being such a poet. But we all know better. And after the text, we get a commercial for Blaster Video. And it's your typical 80s, maybe into the early 90s, you know, not just commercial, but yeah, for a video store, and just the graphics, the effects, the presentation of it just across the board. Fucking nailed it. And then we get a shot on the TV of, I don't know, it was kind of like the Tool Anima cover meets The Ring, but in like a crimson red type of thing. It was just fucking weird. But anyhow, then we get Nyla, which we later find out is her name, walking along this back alley, which is the alley that they specified in the commercial on Unita Avenue, which, love that callback. And she walks into the store, and you hear a trailer playing for Beyond the Thousand Doors. And it's your typical, like, tiny little mom and pop video shop. And again, they nailed, like, just the aesthetics of the whole thing. Except for the lights are out. You just have, like, the neon lights on in there. But otherwise, it's pretty fucking dark. And you have the glow of the television playing these trailers. And I'm sorry if this was an actual trailer, went over my head. I just assumed this was a recreation or a trailer made up in the vein of the time. And if that's the case, again, great job. If it's a real one, all right, I'm a dummy and I don't know everything I think I do. So as Nyla is looking around, trying to figure out if there's anybody here, because other than this TV playing, does kind of look like the fucking place is closed. So she goes and rings the bell, and then all of a sudden, click, lights turn on, and then we have Kevin, the owner, who is the gentleman that was in the commercial just a few moments earlier. And of course, she's startled, but he goes right into it. He's pointing out the TV, and he's like, what you're watching here is Demonica. It's a 70s grindhouse beauty from Italy. And it was originally called You Should Have Never Come Here, which the original cut was over 3 hours, but what we're watching here is the American 75-minute cut version, and like completely nerding out. No fucking hello, no anything. I don't know, kind of struck a chord with me there because, yeah, you catch me at the right time, I'll just start randomly fucking barking off movie facts on movies that I geek out about. And she's just rolling her eyes like, She actually looked like she didn't even want to be there. So, obviously not recognizing her, he assumes she's a new customer. So he's like, today's your lucky day. You're a first-time customer, so you get a free rental. And she's like, I'm not a fucking customer. I'm just returning these tapes. And I forget if she specified at that time or not, but she's returning these tapes for her dad, who is James, who is the gentleman that we saw in the beginning of the movie. Kevin ends up telling us that James was my favorite customer, my best customer, he was a friend. So he's looking at the 3 tapes that were returned. And again, just completely like nerding out over the whole thing. He was like, ooh, great choices you got here. There's Prey Stalkers, which is like Predator meets Carnosaur. And Nyla's just looking at him like, oh, I guess those are other movies. Like, again, she wants nothing to do with this. She's just returning these fucking tapes for her dad. And he's kind of taken aback, like, oh, really? You've never heard of these? And yeah, he's going on, again, just completely nerding out and explaining, oh, this is like quintessential 90s cinema, and it's got the 90s CGI, which it's not like that good shit we got with Jurassic Park, but, you know, it's the flaws that made it more beautiful. And again, just like every fucking tape she's handing in, he's given like the entire history, all the behind the scenes shit and all that. And again, she just wants to get the fuck out of there. So he goes on to explain to her, like, look, I'm not going to make you pay the late fees. I'm not going to make you pay the rewind fees, which at one point you get a glimpse of the tape and it's like a $3.50 charge if you don't rewind the tapes, because for those of you who lived at that time, that was some serious shit. Remember, be kind, rewind. So again, she's like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, a rewind fee, but whatever. And then she reaches into her purse and she pulls out another tape, which is the one from the beginning that looked kind of fucked up, looked a little veiny. Maybe it was a new version of adult cinema, you know, threw him a few veins. I don't know, teach their own. So Kevin takes a look at the tape and he's just, whoa, what the fuck is this? And kind of fascinated with it. And she's like, well, why don't you play it and see what it is? And he's like, nah, I don't, it's just not right to play another collector's. And then click, boom, he's throwing it in the machine, firing it right up. And we go back to a more extensive look of that shot earlier where it kind of had that crimson ring look. He plays the video, and yeah, again, it not the same images or anything but it gave the same vibe as like the Ring video. It's just like these random pictures. Only in this case, you kind of get like some shots of like demonic looking things and all, but almost like there's a ritual going on. But there's a lot of static, a lot of that VHS glitch going on, so you don't really get a fully clear sense as to what's on there. But again, the general vibes I felt was the Ring video, but in red. And then the machine and the TV starts arcing like little purple lightning. So Kevin kind of freaks out and he goes to turn off and he gets fucking zapped. And the arcing is getting like worse and worse. And so Nyla walks over and she's like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, hit the button. She's like, what button? He's like, all of them, just hit all of them. And she goes and I guess just smacks all the buttons, and then she kind of gets a little jolt, and now the two of them are kind of zapped and on the sofa. So as they're kind of not really coming to, because they never fully got knocked out or anything, but I guess once they collect their thoughts and are paying attention again, you kind of hear a little bit of noise and some stuff going on. And then basically coming through one of the side doors or like from behind the counter or something, we have a Prey Stalker come out in all of its 90s CGI glory. And fucking beautiful, man. This thing comes out and now they got to figure out like how to defeat it and all this. Like they don't even like fully believe what the hell's going on. All they know is this thing that was supposed to be in this fucking movie is now in the video store with them. So they have a little bit of showdown, take care of some business, and yeah, spoilers, they defeat it, and it just kind of vaporizes, like, you know, it like glitches out and disappears, I guess going back into the VHS world. And then the tape switches over to another one. Oh yeah, so he's got this whole rig for his TV where he's got like, you know, 3 or 4 fucking VCRs, and then he's got like a switch where he could turns the knob and it switches from one machine to another. So I guess almost like a DJ type of thing where, you know, once one movie's wrapping up, he just turns the dial, boom, next player starts. So that ends up clicking over and we go over to the next movie, which is Beaver Lake Massacre 4. And earlier when he was geeking out over the movies, he goes on to explain that this is a Canucksploitation camp slasher. And it's not just like a regular summer camp, but it's a hockey camp. And because it's a hockey camp, of course, the people killing them at the camp is wearing a hockey mask. And his explanation of this series, because again, this is part 4. Like, this one's his favorite of the whole thing. And he's explaining, like, 4 was the best, but then part 1 was pretty good. 2 and 3 weren't bad. But then part 5, it wasn't even Castor, which Castor is the killer in this. He's like, part 5 wasn't even him. He was a Zamboni driver. And then just goes on, like, and then the later sequels, it just gets worse and worse. It's just, I don't know, it was just fucking hilarious. And it's probably like a whole 2 to 3 minute speech he gives on this franchise. But yeah, obviously you know what he's talking about, but it's not what you think it is. This is a Canadian slasher, not just a slasher franchise where some of it may have been shot in Canada. This fucking lives and breathes Canada. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, after they get rid of the Prey Stalker, Kevin comes up with a little theory as to what might be happening. And the whole time, Nyla's just, I just want to get the fuck out of here. I just came to return some tapes and then go home. But, like I said, Kevin has a theory. And he's like, well, I didn't want to say anything because I don't want to sound weird, which he's been fucking weird this whole time. But he goes on to give the legend of the Videonomicon, which is this cursed tape where if you watch it, bad things are going to happen. And Nyla's just about lost it. She's like, bad things are going to happen to you if you don't figure this the fuck out. But is Kevin rattled? Hells no. He's like, lady, I survived the format wars. Give me your best shot. And she's just, you know what? Fuck you. So, Beaver Lake Massacre 4 starts to play on the machine. We get a little arcady arc going on. And now they're trying to figure out, how are we going to handle this? And they hear a noise coming from the other area, or maybe it's from behind the door. And all of a sudden, we have the emergence of what appears to be, at least in movie world, a teenager wearing like a fucking varsity jacket or whatever. And Kevin recognizes him immediately. He's like, oh my God, you're Dougie Taggart. And he's like, hey, how do you know me? He's like, oh my God, I'm a huge fan and I know about you and your whole family and everything that happened to all your friends and blah, 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 like that. And this Taggart kid doesn't know where the hell he is. Because again, he's a character in a movie. Now he's brought into the real world, but it's just shit's not registering with him. So Kevin offers him a beer and he's just, hey, I'm 18. I do not drink beer and I do not condone alcohol or drugs or anything like that. And he just goes on this like goody fucking rant and fits the stereotype of the over-the-top pure boy. But as he's going on this rant, all of a sudden you see this massive body standing behind him. So we get the appearance of our favorite hockey mask killer of all time, Castor. And he immediately grabs young Taggart, giving our OG protagonist of the movie time to escape. They go and lock themselves in like a storage room or something like that. And they're just listening as poor Taggart's getting his shit kicked out of him. But he's given his heroic fucking one-liners and sorry, another spoiler, but Castor wins. We get acknowledgement of the cheap bastards in the effects crew, which is a lovely little punchline. But they're trying to figure out how to get rid of this killer. But Kevin, being well-versed in this franchise, knows that the only way to take him down is through his heart. To which Nyla's like, all right, how do we stab him? And he's like, no. You take him down with the power of friendship. And she's like, what the fuck? Now, she looks up, she sees the air vent above. So again, gotta go with the tropes. She decides she's gonna climb up through the ductwork there and try to find a way out of here, while Kevin hangs out in the room. And he tries a little this friendship thing in hopes of weakening or convincing to leave or taking out, whatever the case is. And in the meantime, because again, it's a movie, someone's climbing through the ductwork, something's got to go bad. And of course, the screws come loose and that fucker comes crashing down, but luckily right on top of Castor. So now Kevin's all geeking out and he's like, whoa, that was the coolest thing ever. I ain't seen him taken out like that since part 8. And she's like, can we please just get the fuck out of here? And she tries going out the door, or actually that might have been earlier. But basically the door is jammed shut or locked, and, which one would assume it's this tape and it's supernatural powers that are keeping this door sealed. But yeah, they're stuck in there. But it wouldn't be a hockey mask killer if it just stayed down from a simple body falling on top of him. So he gets up, and now the three of them are fighting it out. And while Castor is attacking Nyla, Kevin remembers his favorite action star of all time, Jackson Viper. And he just happens to have a copy of Fury of the Viper. So he makes this heroic dive over to the VCR, slaps that tape in, and boom, Viper has materialized. Again, distracting Castor just enough for our not-so-heroes to escape and run off to the other room once again. And Kevin can tell just by Viper's one-liners that he has eventually taken care of the masked psycho. So they come out once again. Kevin's fanboying, oh my God, you're my favorite. And yeah, now we got to figure out how to get out of here. And I think Nyla even brings up like, okay, you're some fucking kung fu master. And his appearance is just a very 80s action star. Like you get a little bit of Chuck Norris, a little bit of Van Damme, a little bit, it's just like this fucking mishmash of all the action stars of the 80s. So she comes up with the idea of, if anybody's gonna bust this door down, it's this motherfucker. And he, in so many words, is like, fuck yeah, I can. So he goes, gives the old roundhouse to the door, and it fucking blows off. And we have, if the sacred timeline of the Marvel Universe was run by Prince, that's what you see outside this door. It's just this network of glowing lights and all kinds of shit, but it's a nice shade of purple. Not that that really applies in any other way, I'm just trying to be descriptive here. So, they realize they're kind of fucked. So Nyla now throws a fit. She starts grabbing tapes off the shelves, throwing them. Fuck you, fuck this place, fuck these movies, fuck everything. And he's like, whoa, don't take it out on my movies. And Kevin makes a reference to her dad, and she's like, motherfucker, my dad is dead. I found these tapes when I was cleaning up his shit, and I realized the only thing he gave me was a note saying to return these fucking movies. So I was already pissed off by that. Now I get sucked into here, and now I gotta deal with this shit, and you're a dumbass. Yep, we get the obligatory argument, second act shit. So everybody breaks off into their separate ways within the store. And then eventually Kevin comes over, apologizes, and is like, hey, you probably want something to eat. Come here. And he takes her off into this back room that he kind of has set up as like his bedroom. So I guess he's living at the store? I don't know. But there's a bed there, and it's like, he's got a microwave and shit. So, of course, what else would he make her for dinner than some microwave popcorn? Grabs a couple beers out of the mini fridge, and he's offering a truce. Have a beer, have some popcorn. Everybody apologizes to one another. And it's like a really sweet moment. Like, I don't know, it was kind of quick for everyone to calm down like that, but it happened. And he's like, look, I didn't know about your dad. Like, I'm sorry for giving you shit. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm being an asshole. Like, you didn't know and all that. So I guess in her extending an olive branch, she's like, all right, so what's your favorite movie? And his eyes just kind of like fucking brighten up. Like, oh my God, she wants to know this. And he's like, kind of goes into Brody from fucking Mallrats. He's like, wow, how do you determine what the best is? And he's like, you know what? Because my favorite just tried killing us, I'm going to give you my second favorite. And that would be Battle Bear. And just like he did in the beginning of the movie, starts going on like the history of the movie, talking about the director, where like the inception of the movie, and like he's going through all the details. And as he's explaining this for, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, then we get a cut back over to Viper over in the other room where he's doing whatever. And he decides, if I sit around too much, I'm going to lose my edge. So now he goes into his little training montage, doing like push-ups and shadow boxing and, practicing his kicks and all this stuff. So you get like this whole action-packed like mini montage, and then it cuts back to the other two having the conversation. Just sweet little talk and, being nice to one another for the first time since they met. And it's just funny, like the two tones, and it keeps cutting back. Then eventually we get back to Viper, and he's just walking around the store, nosing through some shit. And basically that's when he realizes that not only is he a movie character, but apparently Fury of the Viper is the worst version of his character. That every other movie he's been in, every other Viper movie, was fucking top notch. So now realizing that he is a movie character in the real world, he is the shittiest version of a movie character in this world. He's not too happy about that. And apparently he also finds out Kevin's review stating as such. So we go back to Kevin and Nyla again, and they're trying to come up with a game plan on how to fix this. And that's when Kevin remembers one way to destroy a videotape is with magnets. And back in the day, he tried this thing where he got little refrigerator magnets, promoting the video store. And anytime somebody would rent a movie, he would go and slip it in the case for them to take home and put on their fridge. Not thinking that you put it in the box right on top of the tape and they get home, it's going to erase the fucking tapes. But with that knowledge of magnets erasing these tapes, what if we were to use that on this Videonomicon? So once they come to this agreement, that's when Viper comes in. He's just like, excuse me, can you come here? Can I talk to you? And he goes out and he basically lays out all the evidence of, you motherfucker, you think I'm a piece of shit, you think I suck, and he's not too happy about that. And he starts roughing Kevin up. Nyla's trying to figure out how to help him, and I'm gonna leave it at that, because there's some twists and turns. We got some fighting going on between multiple characters, and at this point, like from this point forward, this didn't end the way I thought it was going to end. And it wasn't subversion just for the sake of subversion. Like, it was a cool little twist, like maybe some multiple twists, but the fact that they didn't go full on textbook ending, it was nice. It was very nice. I'll give this much away right now. Yes, I like this movie, and I definitely recommend anybody checking it out. But let's go a little deeper into this. This movie, of course, if you couldn't tell by me kind of geeking out over it, it's just another one of those. It's a love letter to the good old days of mom and pop video stores. The only thing I'm not 100% about is if this is supposed to be taking place at the time where video stores were on their last breath, or if this is just a guy living in the past. I'm leaning more towards the latter. He did basically go into, like, nobody comes here. Like, your father's the only guy that would show up. Not making any money, but because I'm basically practically in the basement of some back alley, people forgot I'm here, so no bill collectors. So it does sound like this is more of a modern day thing, and he just has, an establishment, which is basically a piece of history or an old relic. This taking place, like, the whole movie, and it's only, I think, like 75, 80 minutes, something like that. So it's not even like a huge commitment of time. The whole thing takes place in this store, just various sections of the store. You get the blue and pink fucking neon lights. You got a lot of bright purples going on in here. Like, again, very vibrant fucking movie. There's some times when it's not so much. In fact, there was like one shot of the bathroom, and it kind of had like that greenish, like Saw type hue to it. So how much of a conscious decision that was, I mean, I'm assuming very much so. And this is just a fucking low budget movie thrown together. I thought it was very well done. I did hear somebody at one point, like, I don't know a lot of people that have seen this. And I'm not saying that a lot. It's just probably more so because I don't know a lot of people. But I don't really know a lot who has seen this. And but I did hear one person mention about the CGI of the Prey Stalker was, they could have done better with that. That was just bad, cheesy CGI. I could be wrong, but the fact that they made a point of saying how in the movie it was the bad early 90s CGI, that was the intent. It was meant to have the bad look of that time. Actually, in my opinion, it probably helped a lot that they were in a predominantly dark room. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of bright lights going on in this, but I almost felt like it looked too good for early 90s, but hey, to each their own. The fucking soundtrack to this movie, the score, the fucking it was perfect. It was very fitting for the time. I actually recently just did a rewatch to really think about that more because, I don't know, and the first time I just kind of felt it, but this time I was more conscious of it. And it was like, holy shit, this is very, very 80s vibe. Some of it very synth heavy. It just, which I guess made it that much better because, like I said, I felt the tone, I felt the mood of everything without paying attention to the music. So I guess it was good enough to just naturally give you that feeling where you didn't have to consciously pay attention to it. The set design, I'm assuming at least 90% of the movies and posters in this, or maybe I just don't know enough, but I'm pretty sure they were all fabricated. And if that is the case, yeah, it had that cheesy, a lot of them were very similar. It did come off like they were leaning into that one specific style. But again, low budget, I don't know how much wiggle room they had in paying for a more diverse looking selection there. But considering it's all background shit, it worked for me. There were two specifically that I did notice, which is why I said at least 90%, but again, I could be wrong. Maybe they were all real fucking movies and I didn't see them, but I did notice there was a glimpse of a poster for Tokyo Gore Police, and there was also, I saw a Puppet Master poster in there. So whether or not they got the rights for that, or again, they could all have been real for all I know. But all the more reason for you all to check it out, to tell me which other ones were actual movies. Another case of, I think everybody played their part well. In the beginning, I was really nervous about Nyla because she just, I don't know, she just seemed annoyingly bitchy in the beginning. It was too much of a one-dimensional bitchiness about it. And I was kind of dreading of going through the whole movie like this, but I think it was when they were having a little back and forth about the fucking format wars, and hit me with your best shot. I think it was at that point where she gave the first real, you know what, fuck you. It was like the first break of, okay, there's going to be more to this character than just, oh, I'm just a sassy bitch and I don't like it here and I don't like you and I want to go home. Yeah, if you can get past that first 5 to 10 minutes of her character, or it could have just been me. But if you all agree with this, trust me, she does break off. And like I said, you get a little more to the character. You realize she does have feelings. As I said, she went into the whole thing about explaining when her dad died, and how that affected her. Like I said, she does eventually open up and show a sweet side, but she does have her badass moments in this as well. So again, what I initially saw as it was just going to be a one-dimensional bitch of a character, I was wrong, and I'm glad I was. Kevin, fucking, that's what I envision, and I've known video store workers. Hell, this show has a former video store employee as a host. And even though I haven't met someone specifically like Kevin, that's still in my mind what a video store clerk is. Actually, there was this one guy that worked at the place that Danny C worked at, and I actually went to school with him, but he was a year or two ahead of me, and yeah, I was super shy and didn't know many people, but I knew of him enough that when I saw him at the store, we had some back and forth then. He was probably the closest to a Kevin without the, not over the top, but the overt nerdiness. Actually, this motherfucker was quite the cinephile, and our conversations were kind of limited because I knew this fucker was way out of my league as far as knowledge. I just wanted to rent the Dream Master one more time, and, you know, he's talking about fucking Citizen Kane and Ben-Hur, and I don't know. He was a smart motherfucker. Let's just leave it at that. But I've been noticing, like, lately I've been in this pattern of silly, like fun, bordering almost too silly movies, or the polar opposite, which is just the most fucked up movies out there. You know, my bedtime watches. But this is one, like, it's not completely played for laughs. They don't take themselves too seriously, but it's not like all slapstick and all that. Like, with all the fight scenes going on in this, and that, you know, Kevin does kind of come off as a buffoon. But again, he's just really passionate about movies. It's not this, you know, bumbling idiot. Like, he actually, in the case of trying to handle these situations, he's got a brain. His obsession with movies helped him out a few times throughout. So yeah, great job. I kind of almost wanted to be him. And the Jackson Viper character, he nailed that 80s action star. Like I said, just had these little elements of like every action star at the time. Maybe not the Schwarzenegger stoicism or so, I don't know. But he well done. Well fucking done. So as a whole, I consider this movie, I've recently said in a group chat that this is like meta nostalgia. But I wouldn't say it's any more meta than like the original Scream. Like, we don't go complete fourth wall, like Deadpool level shit. But, you know, they make references to, you know, movie logic, movie solutions, things like this. And again, with this guy having so much knowledge of these, especially the fucking Beaver Lake Massacre franchise, like that came in handy. It was this movie knowledge, but, you know, we didn't get the full, like, Randy's speech of, here are the rules and this is what you must do. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love Randy. But I'm just saying, you didn't get that. But as far as it being meta, it's no more meta than Scream. And again, a love letter to the days of the mom and pop video stores, which is one thing that recently hit me when I was really thinking about this movie. You always hear about, oh, the good old days of the video stores. And everybody talks about fucking Blockbuster Video. Like, I'm not gonna pull this, you know, oh yeah, fuck the corporations, man. But in a sense, I almost feel like Blockbuster killed the video store. I mean, obviously, streaming did that, but like, Blockbuster was so polished, like, you know, they only had the big, you know, the Blockbuster, or at least the more mainstream, like, horror movies. Like, you weren't going to get a fucking Cannibal Holocaust in a Blockbuster. But the mom and pop shops, so we've referenced it a bunch of times on the show. I mean, obviously, JC loves this shit as well. But I know when I talk about video stores, I'm not like, although I guess that's something that more so started with the millennials. When I say video stores, I don't mean fucking Blockbuster. Yeah, they were a video store, but the mom and pop shops is where my love comes from. You know, was it this fancy, like, super clean and all this? But, you know, we're not talking Jack Shack either. It wasn't a fucking shithole, but there was this warmth, this homeliness of some, I don't know. But anyhow, I just had to get that rant off my mind. And another thought I had the other day at work, when I was thinking about, like, how so many people have this nostalgia for video stores. For starters, I'm wondering if we ever will get, like, you know, how years ago vinyl made a huge comeback and now that's like the thing. I wish there was more of a movement for it. Who knows? Maybe there is and I don't know about it, but I don't hear enough about it. And despite not having a lot of people in my life, unfortunately, I am on the internet as well and I don't hear as many people talking about it. I'd be curious if there ever would be like a resurgence for VHS. Now, granted, with vinyl, there is a superior sound to that over CDs and, you know, a lot of streaming. Whereas there isn't a superior quality to VHS. But there was a vibe. There was an experience that came with VHS. And I'm wondering if there's enough people who miss the feeling of watching these tapes that we will, even if it's on a small scale, of getting these video stores back. But while I was thinking of that, are there, like, whenever I hear about it, but then again, this is what I follow, it's always the horror fans talking about the good old days at the video store. And, like, I don't know, maybe at the time, maybe in the 80s and a little bit in the 90s, when it came to collecting our VHS tapes. Maybe there was some action, maybe a sprinkle of comedy. But is the biggest nostalgia for VHS in the horror community? Like, I'm really curious about this. And I swear to fucking God, man, anybody who's listening to this, shoot us a comment, shoot us a message, text on fucking anywhere and everywhere. Because I really want to know. Obviously, if you're listening to this, there's a 99.99999% chance you're a horror fan. But do you know people that are fans of other genres that are as into physical media as we are? I'd really like to know this. But rant over. This movie, I'm going to give 7.5. Fuck it. I'm giving it a 7.5. I really liked it. It was a fun time. Again, not a super long movie. It's under 80 minutes. So, and I think they paced it well. If this is something where they tried to go for the 90 minutes, yeah, it would have probably had. I mean, there was some downtime in the movie, but I feel like they at least did things in the downtime. So, yeah, well paced, well acted. Again, the fucking music, I loved it. I might even look into if the soundtrack is available, because again, it took me back. It definitely had that 80s feel to it. And that's all I got to say about that. Thank you all for listening. Again, don't forget to share us with everybody. And for those of you who have seen the last video store from 2023, let us know what you thought about it. If you have not seen it, check it out. Come over, let us know what you thought. And also, with all that other ranting, when it comes to the nostalgia for the good old days of physical media, I know a lot of people collect the shit now, but I'm talking like VHS, early DVD days, having the nostalgia of those times and the video stores. Does anybody know fans of other genres that have that same nostalgia? So be well, be safe, stay creepy, and keep talking some damn horror. Doodles.
Broadcast completed.
You've been listening to What an Excellent Day for a Podcast. Be sure to come on down to excellentdayforapodcast.com, where you'll find our entire catalog. And for your convenience, every episode contains a link where you can text the nerds. Want to throw some praise? Some critique? Perhaps you have a suggestion for a topic you'd like to see us tackle. But while you think about that, you could also check out the connections to all of our socials, including our YouTube channel. Give all them a visit. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with everybody you know. And for those feeling a little extra generous, there's also a button where you can support the show in other ways. Every bit of support helps. Well, that's it for this episode. And remember, stay creepy and keep talking some damn horror.